For your next project, you're going to prepare your wood panel using a smooth surface gesso technique. The first step in this process is to tape off the edges of your panel using blue tape or masking tape. While this isn't a totally necessary step, it gives your painting a nice finishing touch. When you're done with the painting, you can remove the wood tape or the blue or masking tape, and it will reveal a nice clean wood underneath. It's just a nice finishing touch, and you can then hang your painting directly on the wall. First step you need to do is water down your gesso. You want it to be the consistency of about a thick soup. Watering it down helps to reduce the amount of brush strokes that you see. Now you want to kind of add a little bit of water. You can actually add it directly to the gesso container, especially if you bought the container from the bookstore. That kind of gesso is very thick, so you might need to add a little bit more water to it. And like I said, you can just kind of mix it directly in the container itself. You don't want it too thin because then the gesso will be a little bit too runny and you'll have to do more than 4 layers. But sort of a nice, think about it like a nice thick tomato soup. When you're painting, you want to start in the middle of your painting and work your way across the panel using irregular, uneven strokes. Irregularity helps to ensure that you're not doing the same stroke over and over again with each layer. It helps to make the brush strokes less obvious. This is a technique that we did with our paper. So you're just kind of repeating that on the board. If you have a paint roller at home, that also works really well for this kind of smooth painting. Then with your piece of sandpaper, you want to wrap it around a rectangular object. This too isn't 100% necessary, but wrapping it around something rectangular helps to ensure that you're going to have even pressure all the way around the board. You can see here I used an eraser. You could use a wood block. You could use a book that's just like a small book. You could use a hard sponge if it hasn't been wet yet. But it's just so, if you use the sandpaper with your fingers, sometimes it can be a little bit uneven when you're sanding. So after the layer is dry, you're going to sand the board. Once again, make sure it's completely dry before sanding. You want to sand in nice round circular motions. You're going to repeat this 4 times, and you're going to sand the board after the last layer. You can notice the round circular motions that you're repeating. So start in the center, work your way to the edges. Feel it. You can feel that it's nice and smooth. Like I said, the circular is key. That way you're making sure you get a nice even feel. You can touch it and see that all of the bumps are gone. You'll get a nice smooth texture. It should take about 4 layers. If you go really thin with your gesso, then you might have to do 1 more. But after the last layer, you're going to sand it 1 last time. And these layers should actually dry a little bit quicker than when you're painting more thickly. So that's kind of the bonus of thinning it out. You can move between the layers more quickly.